funny? Do you know who our backup quarterback is? Carson freaking Wentz. All right? Like, where has this guy freaking been?
Wait, didn't he
Yeah,
retire?
he's on our bench.
Jeez.
So
There is hope for Zach Wilson after all. If Carson Wentz can hang around.
Hey, Carson Wentz took a team to the playoffs.
Yeah, but he did, the backup took him to the Super Bowl and won it.
I mentioned earlier.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beard Zone Sports Talk. My name is David. I got Carlos. I got Theo. And today we got a special guest. We got Floice in the house, y'all, to represent the Kansas City Chiefs fan base. It's because we are going to be covering the AFC West. We're going to be continuing our way too early prediction series here. And we're going to wrap up the AFC with the AFC West. But fellas, first, Trevor Lawrence gets paid. Absolutely paid. What are your thoughts about this?
Quarterback.
Yeah.
No joke. Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man. It's 55 a year. I just don't know. Tua and Dak have just got to be at home, just with their feet up, going, man, life's good, because this guy is just he got me a little bit more money.
Phones are ringing right now with agents, and I really have to know, in the separation between Trevor Lawrence and his hair, who's going to get the 200 mil? These are the questions we should be asking.
It's just I can't believe that we were just saying before we started. It's just it just keeps going. Where does it stop? Where does it end? I mean, at the end of the day, I compared to some of the guys that have gotten paid in the past, it's harder to have a question about it, because let's all remember that Brock Osweiler, took a ton of money from the Broncos way back when. Wait, was it Broncos or the Texans? It was the Texans. It was the Texans. He took a bunch of money.
Yeah,
he's
that is the name I was not expecting to hear.
Yeah. When we talk about this, Brock Osweiler is always the one I think about, because he should be in jail. He's the biggest thief in NFL history. But at the end of the day, you see someone like that, and then Trevor Lawrence, I still think there's a chance for him to get to the place where he can bring. I think he can win a Super Bowl. I think it's possible. There are some quarterbacks that get paid that I absolutely think it'll never happen. I think it's possible Trevor Lawrence gets to the Super Bowl.
I think so too. He's got the skill set to be a good quarterback. He's got a good arm. He comes from a pedigree in college with Clemson and winning. So man, it's tough, man. When you say, when does it stop? That draft class that came in was the perfect draft class to come in at the perfect time, when their fifth years were coming up, salary caps rising. Man, 55 million. It's tough to swallow.
So I have to say this. Do we see Dak go into the 60s? Do we see Dak or Tua go into the 60s? Who's going to be that first quarterback to cross that threshold?
I
feel like it's going to happen. I feel like it's going to happen. Maybe not next year, but I feel like that is just bound to happen. No one thought that we would be paying $50 million a year for a quarterback 3 years ago.
I think it's in a couple of years, 3 or 4 years. It's CJ Stroud. I think he's that guy.
Oh,
maybe Josh Allen. I don't know when his contract's up, but CJ, I could see he pushing that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a good point.
Could see that. Could definitely see that.
That's definitely a good point. But let's go ahead and let's dive into the AFC West, fellas. This is an interesting division, kind of looking at it this week. The teams there. Obviously, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they're the juggernauts, right? But then you have the Los Angeles Chargers, who have just been kind of one of those teams. You know what they remind me of? They remind me of another Jacksonville Jaguars. We talked about them last week. They have a good quarterback, right? But it's just it doesn't seem like that they can put it all together. On paper, they're a good team, right? And if you look at their defense, it's a really good defense on paper, but yet they're one of the worst. They're always towards the bottom of the rankings as far as defensive stats come the end of the year, and so it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But Jim Harbaugh is there now. I feel like that he's definitely the perfect guy. If anyone's going to turn it around, it can be him. I mean, coming off an 85-25 record there in Michigan, and then let's not forget about the run that he had with the San Francisco 49ers. He went 44-22 with them, and he led Colin Kaepernick, led 49ers to the Super Bowl. So I think that that's going to be a good fit for him. I think that it's the coach that Justin Herbert needs, but I'm interested to see what your guys' take is for the Los Angeles Chargers this year, because I think that they can be that second place team there in that division, and find themselves in a wild card spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there's already talks of like, because every season there's like a theme and message that comes out that like a head coach wants to achieve. Jim Harbaugh's message to the Chargers was, you might beat us on Sunday, but you're not going to win your next game. And so like when you re-look at all of his draft picks, he's re-establishing a strong center base. He's investing in running backs because he already has the investment in Justin Herbert that like the quarterback game is going to be good, but he really wants to pull away from the quarterback really running the show, investing heavily in like good tackles, good linebackers, and then a really solid running game. And like, yeah, sure, it's going to be a rebuilding year, but how much are they actually going to be rebuilding? Because they're going to be very competitive.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's an interesting situation because I completely agree that Chargers have just felt like this team that I don't know ever since even when the years of Phillip Rivers. After that, like it's hard to say that after Phillip Rivers they went off of an edge. It's almost like they didn't necessarily change after Phillip Rivers. Like they've been competitive. They've been getting positive, being positive at the end of the season. They've been doing all of this, but just for some reason, either they just miss the playoffs or they lose out in the beginning. Like it's just been constant from like it feels like 15 years. The same thing has been happening with their season. A completely median. I mean, I think with Harbaugh coming in, I like that. I mean, I agree with you, Floice. I like him coming in, doing something different. I think this team needed a full rehaul of exactly what what the goal of this team is to do. Like he's gonna go hard nose, he's gonna run the ball, he's gonna take some of the pressure off of Herbert, focus on the defense, focus on the O-line, focus on the run game, and try and win that way. Hey, it's better than like you got to change the formula is the same thing has been happening way too long with this team. So I'm all for whatever changes Harbaugh needs to make.
Yeah,
he's definitely gonna punch these guys in the face, not literally, but maybe.
By
Yeah. They just go through. They kind of had to. They're going through a rebuild, but it's not like a from scratch rebuild because they were in like salary cap hell there for a little bit, and then that's why they get rid of Allen. You got to trade him away. They got to restructure Bosa and Khalil Mack. So they get the salary cap under control, but in that time frame they have to give up, and their wide receiver core is hurting. They got to get rid of Eckler as well. Yeah, I mean, but Harbaugh's the man for the job. But like you said, he's with the Niners. Everywhere he goes, he wins. His Michigan days, the 49ers days, he won there. Heck, even when he was at Stanford, he won. Even at University of San Diego, the guy won. So he is a winner. I do like what he's doing, man. He's like Floyd said, he's getting it. Get Joe Alt in there. So they got him and Slater on the corners now on the edges. Good two tackles, and they got a good defense. But I like what you said about their defense was it looks really good on paper, but it just doesn't translate to the field.
Mm-hmm.
And you're 100% right, man. You got Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James, Shante Samuel, even Denzel Perryman is a huge hitter in the middle of that at linebacker. But I don't know what it is with them. I don't know if it was scheme, coaching, but coaching won't be the issue for them anymore. Harbaugh's going to turn this team around. Yeah, I think they're a 500 team or 500-ish. They could go 8-9, 9-8. feel like they're going to be right around there. They'll be competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I have them going. I have them going 10-7. I mean, because I do like the additions, and there were some additions that I feel like that maybe get overlooked. But
Mhm.
I love the signing of DJ Chark. I know that they need help there in the offensive and the wide receiver room. I think that he's a good depth piece. He doesn't necessarily have to come in and be that number one guy. They drafted late Lad McConkey from
Conklin.
Georgia, who I think
Love
was a
that.
fantastic receiver
Yeah.
from Georgia. And then they signed Christian Fulton, a very successful corner in Tennessee. He's coming to add to that secondary. And then they drafted Cam Hart. And they drafted Cam Hart late, and I think he fell. I think that that's going to be one of those draft picks that we look back on, and they're like, man, they stole that guy because he was so good in college, such a physical, and he's big too. He's such a physical corner. I mean, that is the name of the game. It's physicality. They even went out and they got Gus Edwards. I mean, they did get J.K. Dobbins. I'm hoping that J.K. Dobbins does well, but I don't know if he'll ever see more than three plays on an NFL field. Unfortunately,
He just got hurt, so
also,
he kept out of the
did
car
you
wrong. He's hurt.
did you guys notice how many draft picks from Michigan were on their final list? There's like
He's going
5
what he
guys.
knows.
It's like, oh, I know this
I mean,
guy.
like, yeah, I mean, you just have to look at it. I mean, he had an idea of what he was going to do coming into here, and he executed it, to the T on what he said that he was going to do. So they should be very physical. They should be very competitive this year, and hopefully it takes Justin Herbert to that next tier that we all know that he can be. So I have them at
Yeah.
10-7. I see them coming in second division or second in this division. I really do.
You're being
Yeah.
very gracious.
I got them 8
Well,
and 9.
8 and 9.
8
Okay.
and 9. Yeah. I think it's a new. I think it's the start of a new regime. I don't necessarily. I mean, but they don't necessarily have to start like being great immediately. I think they're gonna win some important games, and I think they're gonna start a new kind of mentality in that on that team. So yeah, 8 and 9.
Okay.
Um,
I like it.
So like the interesting thing, like if you look at their schedule, they have almost the exact same schedule as the Chiefs, and so like you'll hear me bring this up later. So they have their first 4 games. Game 4 is the game against the Chiefs in Kansas City, and then Week 5 is their bye, and then they have a 13-game break, like of nothing but games. So like the strategy has to become like if they want to be successful in the postseason, they have to get that first week bye. There's no way around it. They're not going to be able to go the distance. The only reason why the Chiefs did it last year, they sacrificed during the Raiders game at the end of the season. They also they had that week 10 bye. So like that, yeah, they had that bye like right there in the middle. But like same exact schedule almost as the Chiefs. The Chiefs have a bye on week 6 instead of week 5. But like going 13 games of really physical football, that's going to really wear and tear on them. And I think that's part of Jim Harbaugh's message. Like, is like I'm going to put in people in there to do damage, but I want to protect the critical assets. I want to save the wide receiver core. I want to save Herbert. I want to save like my key players because I need them to perform in crunch time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll definitely see how it goes. Let us know down there in the comments what you guys think the Chargers are going to do. But let's move on to another team that has, they're another team that I feel like that they can be good. I like their head coach. I like that he was able to get the permanent position there and kind of see what he can do throughout all of OTAs. And that's the Las Vegas Raiders. My biggest concern with the Las Vegas Raiders, though, is who's running the offense. Because
Great question.
Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, I mean, they'll win you a couple of games, but they're not the guys. They are not the guys long term. And I think Raiders got messed up in the draft when Atlanta Falcons took Michael Penix at 8 because I have a very strong feeling that he was going to be an Oakland Raider, a Las Vegas Raider. But I mean, seriously, I mean, like, and honestly, if you look at their supporting cast for those quarterbacks outside of Devontae Adams, who honestly, he's not been the Devontae that we've known from the Rodgers era. But it's only because he doesn't have a quarterback. He hasn't
Yeah.
had a quarterback.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, what are you gonna do? I
Mhm.
mean, so it's interesting. I had them going 8-9 this year, and I feel like that I'm being kind of
Oh
gracious
wow,
to them
you
on
are
there.
being gracious.
So
don't.
but
Yeah.
it's
I
rough, man.
I agree with you, David. Like, I just don't understand. Like, they have such a good weapon at Devontae Adams. Like you need to enable this guy to really go out there and strive. I really feel like they might have missed capital by potentially because yeah, you're right. All six of the like figurehead quarterbacks were gone before the Oakland Raiders had a chance to actually go into the draft. So it's like I really feel like they were trying to grab one of those first round quarterbacks and completely missed the mark. So it was like,
Yeah.
now what? And so like I really want them to get rid of what's his name, Crosby. I really want him gone. I don't like him as like he.
Oh man, that dude's a beast.
Okay. As
You
a
know,
Chiefs, as a
But as
Chiefs
a Chiefs fan, he
Yeah,
I don't
dude,
like
that
him.
thing's
yeah,
a,
okay.
He's so
Because
good.
I was like,
He-
wait, what?
Yeah.
he's a beast. He ain't going
Oh, yeah,
anywhere.
I know.
That
Yeah.
guy has Raider written all over him.
Yeah.
He is,
yeah, he does.
he's the X factor on that team,
Yeah,
man.
he really
Absolutely.
is. And so, like, I mean,
Yeah.
like, could they have like capitalized on potentially trading away Devontae Adams and go with a whole entire new offensive core with a new head coach? But it's like, I don't. The Raiders are really in an interesting spot. I see them just going over 500, but unfortunately there's kind of mixed up on success for this season for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. I feel like they were too passive this offseason. Way too many other things going on around them and not capitalizing on what you have now. I think they have a Super Bowl defense, right? Like I think it all
They
can
do.
be agreed that defense is nasty with with Crosby at the head. Like that they can stop any offense. I'm convinced of that after seeing them play last season. But man, just like Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell. This is who we're getting to lead to help. While we have a Super Bowl defense, like just not capitalizing on these moments when you have a chance to really do something and be different. I feel like it's similar to the Chargers. Like Raiders have just been that another team that's just kind of been, they have not been like super terrible for years, but they also have just not been a team that can really get to the post and do any damage for a long time either. So it just kind of feels like they're floating, and like the powers that be up in Las Vegas just allowed everything to happen to them this offseason. I don't know what you expect to get out of guys like Aiden O'Connell and Minshew, but it's not going to be. I doubt it's going to be a postseason for me. Like I just and then their schedule is not really like the schedule. I mean, this division is difficult. This division is already like it's not with the Chiefs in there already. Like it's going to be tough. But it's not. The schedule isn't super forgiving either. I go with 7-10. That's where I landed on the Raiders. Like I don't see how they go positive.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders did. They did do. I think they botched the draft of the quarterback. I think they should have went after one. But hear me out here. They might have done something really smart too. So they could look like a genius with Antonio Pierce. He's definitely. I don't like using the worst coach in that division, but he is the worst coach in that division only because of his tenure. Sean Payton is definitely a better coach than him. Andy Reid there's not many better coaches than that guy. So, and then Jim Harbaugh is better than him. But their weakness is that they have O'Connell. I don't even know if he's a backup quarterback. I don't even think he'd be a good backup. And Minshew is a backup quarterback, so they are going to hurt there. They lose Josh Jacobs, and there's a question mark with Zaire White. Like, is he going to be good? He is from Georgia, but
So what's the good thing they did?
I'm waiting.
I'm getting there. I'm waiting
for the punchline right now.
I'm getting there. That there's if the Raiders are listening or any Raiders fans, you need to get this message to the Raiders because I'm going to help you guys out in 2025. They do get Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers is going to be. I think he's the next coming of Travis Kelce, man. I was a huge Bowers fan, and they get Colton Miller at offensive tackle, and then they add Christian Wilkins into that defense with Max Crosby, and it's a top 10 defense. I'm with you guys. I love Max Crosby, man. He's
a monster.
That guy's
dude.
nasty, man.
Yeah.
Nasty. But here we go. So they signed Pierce because Pierce is he goes 5-4 last year. They have maybe one of the most perfect games playing when they demolished the Chargers last year.
Yeah. Wasn't
But
that the
is he
game
a
with the
head?
one-handed interception pick six?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Like off of the
Insane.
screenplay?
Yeah. Insane.
Like that was the best defensive play last year.
Dude,
It was so awesome.
they just destroyed those guys. So let's say he doesn't pan out, which he's got a tough road with the two quarterbacks, but he's got the Raiders organization has a couple guys out there that maybe can turn them around. Ben Johnson, the OC of Detroit, is not gonna. He's gonna eventually have to be a head coach. They go sign him next year. They take him out of Detroit. He's a good OC. And then they go and they draft them a quarterback because I got them not having a good year. They're going to be a top 10 pick, I believe, but probably close to the 10 pick. I got them winning 6 games. Old Dion's son will be there for them. How do you say that guy's first name? Shadora?
Shador.
Yeah.
Shador.
Sanders. He's got LA written all over him. They already have a list of teams that they want, and LA's one. They want him in LA.
Raiders are in Vegas, though.
Well, but that type of atmosphere with the Vegas, the Raiders will be on that list of teams for him for sure. So, but they get Ben Johnson, get Sanders to take over at quarterback. You got Adams, Bowers, and then they'll have some extra salary cap room.
Yeah.
It should be pretty interesting, and I do I want to jump on what you guys said because I have here in my notes what this defense is, right? Everyone wants to look at Max Crosby, the signing of Christian Wilkins, but they got Robert Spillane, who is an absolute animal in his linebacker position, and then you also have Divine Diablo, who had over 100 tackles last year as well in that linebacker spot. So this is no defense to sleep on for sure. And it's just unfortunate. I hope that they don't miss their window because, Theo, I think you're right. I think they have a Super Bowl contending defense and they just need that offense, right? If they can get that offense to where it needs to be, if they can get their guy at the helm, because Minshew or O'Connell is not it. And if you're a Raider fan and if you're saying that one of them are, you need to go read.
It's hopium.
Because it's not going to happen. So, but I do have them going 8-9. I see them being third in that division. I just, their defense is going to win them games for sure. And Minshew or O'Connell will win you a couple of games, but they're not the long-term answer. And Sanders and Raiders. And you know what? To kind of tie into that, and I know that this has been something that's been kind of like in speculation a little bit, but someone who works very closely with Sanders is Tom Brady. And Tom Brady is supposed to be some partial owner of the Raiders. Yeah. So it could be a perfect... Carlos, you might be on to something. So Raiders...
Oh, I'm on to it. I'm telling you. Get the Raiders owner on the phone right now. Get Davis on the phone.
The crystal ball is out with Carlos tonight. Yeah. So... But Raiders fan, hold your head up high because 2025 might be the year that we're singing a different tune for your team.
Hey, who knows?
So now let's go to a team in the West.
Oh boy.
That honestly, if you look at them, they are the definition of the most average team out there in the NFL. Everyone that they have is mid-level players. Everyone.
Not everybody.
Outside of Surtain. Surtain is one of the best corners out there in the league. I will give them that. And I'm talking about the Denver Broncos. But like Cortland Sutton, I understand, but mid-level guy. He's not. I mean, he can be a number one, but he's not elite. Okay, Javonte Williams, mid-level running back. He had about 780 yards last year. I think only like 3 touchdowns. So, but if you look at this team and the Bo Nix, we don't know what Bo Nix is going to be. In
Bo freaking Nix.
Didn't you love Bo Nix? Weren't you like in the draft, Bo Nix?
Me? No, I like Michael Penix.
I know no, you don't like him. You love him. But
now I hate him because unfortunately he's a Falcon and I have to root against him. So I mean, it's just in my blood. I have the Broncos. I have the Broncos last in this division, and it's not to say that they can't
Oh, shoot.
that they can't win games. But I have them going 7-10. I don't trust. I just don't trust them. You know, they're just, if you look at their team overall, they didn't do anything really spectacular in the draft. Again, outside of Bo Nix. Bo Nix could be really good, right? I mean, he was pretty good in Oregon. So he could be his thing, and it's going to be, you know what Bo Nix is? Bo Nix is what Russell Wilson could not be for Sean Payton, and that was a yes man.
So did you see?
Sean Payton needs a yes man
Did
quarterback,
you see
and that's what Bo
who's
Nix.
playing backup underneath Bo Nix if Bo Nix decides to bust?
Oh,
Zach
what's his name?
freaking
Yeah, Zach Wilson.
Wilson. Are you talk about?
he's competing.
I'm already like
Jeez.
annoyed with Sean Payton's strategy for taking down my Chiefs, but then like now you have a quarterback who could mentor a new quarterback on how to beat the Chiefs. Don't like it. No, like I think Bo Nix. I'm optimistic.
I don't know if Zach Wilson is a
You're right.
mentor.
That's my concern. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like
I don't think you ever have to be worried about that one. I think you're good.
Yeah.
so like I see Bo Nix having a lot of success, especially with the Sean Payton style offense. Mirrors kind of the same level that you see with that West Coast kind of movement style of offense that he had in Oregon. But like Zach Wilson, I believe in Zach Wilson. I believed in the Jets story, but it's like I don't know. Like I don't think he has much longer in the league before he hangs it up, which is unfortunate. He really needed a break. I don't think he's ever going to get it. Yeah, you already talked on Sutton and then Devontae Williams, a running back. This might just be an RPO style offense, and we'll see how these pan out. But yeah, I agree. I looked at my little scoring chart I made earlier, David, and yeah, like I didn't even realize I did put Broncos all the way at the bottom as well. They have a very mid style schedule, nothing too challenging before they hit their bye weeks and everything. But they do play the Chiefs week 18, but it's like none of that matters. It's probably going to be just coasting to the finish line for the Chiefs as we're going to the playoffs again. But it
Unless if Max Crosby gets to Mahomes early, man, and you never know.
Dude, the D-line's good. I can see Christian Wilkins getting.
Yeah, I think the Broncos average like one pick against Mahomes per game. Like no matter what, like there's this one pass, it just seems like Mahomes just throws it to their secondary, and it's like it frustrates me every single time I see it. But like really though, how many more years are we going to give Sean Payton before the Broncos decide to shelf him too? Like it seems like.
Well, dude, they're in salary cap hell with him.
I'm just gonna say,
I mean, I feel like they're stuck. I don't know. I don't know if their hands are kind of tied because they're still paying Russell Wilson
200.
Oh
my gosh,
so much money. The Pittsburgh Steelers got a starting quarterback
for $1 or something like that. Like it's like what's going on?
Yeah. But I mean, Sean Payton, his contract is crazy. But you know what? To touch on that, Floice, I think that if he has 2 years with this Bo Nix, experiment that he's wanting to do, I think 2 to 3 years, and then he's out if he doesn't get this thing heading in the right direction.
Well, then do you just bench Bo Nix like they did the first year with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes? Just give him a year to absorb the league as much as possible, then throw Bo Nix.
No, because who do you sit behind? You sit behind Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
Nah. Bo Nix is probably going to start.
I don't see him sit on the bench. He has to start.
Yeah. I don't see Zach Wilson winning that camp battle. So Bo Nix is going to be thrust in that position as soon as the season starts. I mean, I will say about the Broncos that I see a world in where, this could be a new kind of league for them too, right? Like this is Sean Payton's first chance at actually making a pick at the guys that he wants. Even though technically he didn't, because he kind of just took the guy that fell to them. I don't know if he tried to move up or anything like that, but Bo Nix was just there. So we need a quarterback. Bo Nix is there. We'll just take whoever falls. That's kind of what happened to them. But I mean, I liked Bo Nix as a prospect. I think of the quarterbacks that were taken this year, I think he was the most NFL ready. He played in a system that's most NFL kind of prepared. So like I like him as a prospect.
For 10 years.
Yeah, that's a plus, right?
I mean, also
on the
also,
earlier
let's
college episode, I called him the
not
Van
to forget
Wilder
that he's a
of the,
45-year-old man.
prospects, and I'm like,
Right.
it's so fitting. He was like what, 5th-year senior? Like, hold on, wait a minute, you're like 27. Go home.
That's my kind of school. That's how many years.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still technically a new team. I don't with rookie quarterbacks. It never ends. Not never, but it rarely ends well for them. Like there's so many things they're getting used to in a truly NFL style offense. So I'm not expecting great things. I think it's gonna be them figuring a lot of stuff out. Y'all were talking about Javonte. I saw a blurb the other day that said, "Is he even gonna make the team?" Jaleel McLaughlin apparently has been tearing it up in OTAs and minicamp, and he's been vying for that number one position. Real shifty guy that's just been apparently he's just been a student of Sean Payton and the game, like just being the first one in, last one out, that kind of stuff. So I mean, like I said, a new leaf for this team. I think it's gonna take a while for them to actually get going. My win loss for them is 4-13 right now. I think it's gonna be a rough season. But I just think that
I'm with
keep
you.
going and building this team and making it better.
I'm with Theo on this one.
You had them going 4-13 as well.
Yeah, man, it's not a good football team. Like you said with Javonte, and he was right on the other running back is more Alvin Kamara-ish.
Right.
And Javonte gets hurt. He was great at North Carolina, but he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And they just have that huge question mark at who's going to be the QB1. Floice is right. Bo Nix, he goes through his dream school growing up in Auburn, and Auburn sucked. Like, he just had to. Dude, I mean, I watched a lot of games. I'll give it to the guy. He stuck it out for 4 years. Then he goes to Auburn. That is Oregon. It is a quarterback-friendly offense. It always has been. Their quarterbacks kill it through the years. They don't always translate in the NFL. So he is going to something similar. He just, I don't know. Is he QB1? I guess we're going to find out. I mean, between Zach Wilson and Jeff Stidham, whatever the other guy is, that's the old New England guy and Raider guy. So I just don't. Man, I don't see it. I don't think the defense is good enough. The offensive lines, it was bad last year. It didn't get any better. So. And the wide receivers, they lose Jerry Jeudy, so I don't know who the heck they replace with him, but I didn't see anything. So I think they're a 4 or 5 win team. They're definitely going to be at the bottom. Just to go on and say, I don't think anybody in this division makes the playoffs but the Chiefs. I think everybody else is. I think Chiefs are the only one that make the playoffs.
I agree. Unfortunately, I think the Chargers have the best chance, but yeah.
Yeah, I have the Chargers at least maybe sneaking in there to the wild card. But let's go ahead and let's give our guest of honor the floor really quick, because let's move on to the Kansas City Chiefs, the back-to-back Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. Floice, let us know what we should expect.
Right here, actually, I have the playbook on how to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and if you notice, it's actually empty because you guys are freaking screwed. Are you kidding me? Are you guys kidding me? So already draft class A- strong. We kept our whole entire back office. Like, we have Patrick Mahomes, we got Hollywood Brown, and just to put like a little extra spice and sprinkles on it, do you know who our backup quarterback is? Carson freaking Wentz. All right? Like, where has this guy freaking been?
Wait. Didn't he retire?
He's on our bench.
Jeez.
So
there is hope for Zach Wilson after all. Carson Wentz hang around.
Hey, Carson Wentz took a team to the playoffs. God, yes, it does.
Yeah, but he did. The backup took him to the Super Bowl and
So,
won it.
I mentioned earlier with the Chargers themes and messages, and really this Kansas City Chiefs for like the preseason here and like getting ready and like make all their capital. This really feels like the Last Dance sort of vibes, right? This is the Bulls going for their second three-peat. Like they're preparing, they're focused outside of Rice. Um, everyone's signing extensions to do this one last charge. This is like it really feels like all in. Everything I'm hearing from OTAs and interviews is like everyone is focused except for Rice. And like even to the point where like even our secondary is prepared for Rice to be out for the first half of the season. And so like him being out first half, I mean, it puts him back at about roughly week 6, was when the Chiefs come off their bye. And so I'm like, dude, just take the hit. Just sit out and take your lickings. Yeah, sure, the first 6 seasons, but then we have a 12 games a 12 games straight in a row for the finish line. And like I said before, they have to get that first round bye. There's no way for this team to truly go all the way to the Super Bowl again without getting that first week bye. There were some analysts that were going on that were like, well, this is Baltimore Ravens year. The Baltimore Ravens are going to charge. They're going to get that first round bye, take it away from the Chiefs, and they're going to go all the way because the Chiefs are just going to run out of gas in the postseason. And like I feel that, but they're completely restructuring this offense now. This is going to be the offense from like Patrick Mahomes' second year. There's no other way to like. Everyone needs to blow off all their old scouting reports and really look at this offense because you have multiple guys, multiple wide receivers are running 4.2, 4.3, and 4.4 40s. You got you have a hopefully well recovered and clear mindset Travis Kelce. We'll see. And you got Pacheco in the backfield again. And then I have his photo up right now on my other screen because he's so damn charming. Louis Rees-Zammit. There's no other way that this guy's making the final 52. He's making the team. He like him and Travis Kelce have this uncanny relationship right now, and I'm freaking terrified for everybody else in the league. So, you know that like
Don't worry, Taylor will put it into it.
Which game was that? Where they threw the pass to Travis Kelce. Kelce threw that lateral to what is it? Valdez-Scantling. No, Kadarius Toney had the offside charge, and so the whole entire play was called back. So Zammit was messaging.
That's what he does.
Kelce was like, "Let's practice that play." And if you watch Zammit's highlight reels, that's exactly what plays got him to like into open field in rugby. This is exactly that one play. You ISO the first person with the ball, and they do a side lateral, and he hits the sideline and just bolts it. All right, this guy is fast. Like I think even after OTAs with pads, he was reporting like a 4.5 40, and that's still insanely fast. He has great acceleration speed, but his top speed is really there. So I'm like, I'm calling it. It's like me a couple. They're during the college football playoffs again, where I said Bama is going to win by 3. Zammit's making the final 52, and then also I see him, if not being like that kind of that trick running back to go to like this the freaking Y slot. He's going to either be the special teams hero, and he's going to take over this whole entire new kickoff rule. So what it's gonna if we even talk about any of that craziness. So.
He hasn't been hit by Max Crosby yet, so rugby he might be going back to playing rugby. We'll see. He hasn't. Fred Warner hasn't teed him up yet.
The other thing the one thing I'm really tired of. I'm really tired of the Chiefs defense being the training camp to send good quality talent to the rest of the league, right? So like I'm happy that that we kept Tranquil, we kept Karlaftis, we kept, of course, Jones, but we also sacrificed Snead, who was an absolute killer last year. Like, there is no Chiefs in the Super Bowl without Snead. Like, his 1-yard stop against the Baltimore Ravens put the ball back in our hands for us to win, right? And then, of course, we lost Willie Gay as a linebacker. Willie Gay has been with the Chiefs for, I think, like 4 years now. He's a great, strong the area denial linebacker in the middle of the field, and he's just gone. So like now we have new rookies moving into those positions, and everyone's like, "Oh, Spagnuolo is going to really coach and train these guys." And I'm like, it's great, but we need the talent to stay in Kansas City. But we got to make cap, and like I'm happy Snead's getting paid, happy Gay's getting paid, but That's kind of my 2 cents right there.
Well, they got Justin Sneed. I know he's not or Reed. He's not Sneed. I get that, but they're still that defense is still I think is a top 5-6 defense, man. They're gonna be they're gonna be strong again. They'll definitely you got to put them up there in contention to win the Super Bowl again. I am not sold though on Xavier Worthy. I am not a huge Worthy fan. Being a college football guy, he's got a skinny frame. He doesn't do well against press coverage. He dropped balls at Texas where he's wide open. But Patrick Mahomes does make average quarterbacks good. I mean, look what he did for Juju.
Yeah.
He got him a big contract. So, I mean, and they get Hollywood. I think those are. I mean, honestly, I don't think this team has question marks. It doesn't matter if those guys do well because they had the worst receiving core last year,
Yeah.
and they still won. So it doesn't matter. I mean, there's only a win-win situation for those guys. But so I was reading the Week 6 bye. They had to coincide it because of Taylor's new tour.
Yeah.
And Kelsey has to be there. That could be the only thing that stops him is Brittany Mahomes' beef with Taylor. And then do we actually get to watch the games that focused on the box the whole time she's there? So that's probably the only thing that could hurt them. But there's really no holes really on this team.
I also wanted to mention Jared Wiley. We picked him up in the draft, TCU grad. This guy was an absolute monster for TCU in their championship runs. Don't sleep on that name. If we go to a low tempo game that doesn't have a lot of stakes and Travis Kelce decides to sit out again, Jared Wiley is going to be. I think that's going to be the guy that you're going to start hearing more and more of over the next couple of years. So look out for him too.
Yeah, I agree. He's good.
Yeah,
I mean, I have the Chiefs obviously winning this division. I had them going 13-4. I mean, when you look at this Chiefs team, listen to the rest of the NFL fans. We're just accept it at this point. I mean, we're just in another dynasty. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, they're going to be here for a while. It's going to happen. They're going to take mid-level talent around them, and they're just going to take them to the new heights, and they're just going to be the team to beat. I mean, I think what has it been like the last 6 years? They've at least made it to the AFC conference game, right? Mm-hmm. They have 3 Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes. They're looking at doing the first 3-peat, and they're well on their way. I mean, honestly, this team has almost no holes in it whatsoever. And everyone wants to talk about the Patrick Mahomes and the offense and everything else like that. This defense last year, and Floice, you can back me up on this as a Chiefs fan. This defense last year was second in the NFL. Second. Yeah. You have Patrick Mahomes and that offense, and then you have the second-ranked defense in the NFL. This defense is nothing to sleep on. They did get a major hit with Snead leaving. That sucks. But I don't think that it's going to be such a huge blow to them to where we're not seeing the same stout defense that we saw last year. This team, it does. I like what you said there, Floice. It does have this last dance kind of feel to it where the guys are just, you know what? Let's make one last run at this thing. Let's just do one last run and let's just, get this 3-peat and, just put ourselves in the record books. And I mean, man, I would not be surprised. But Floice, as you said, they do need that first week bye because that early bye week sucks. And for that to have that long stretch and then to go into the playoffs, that would be rough to have to do, the wild card divisional conference and then the Super Bowl without having that week off. Since what is it, week 6? I think their bye week is. So
here's their first games. Week 1, Baltimore. Week 2, Bengals. Week 3, I think. Yeah.
Joe Burrow is the killer.
Yep. That's the
Joe Burrow is the killer of Patrick Mahomes.
He has the secret potion. He has the key.
Just do not like we're going to see the true colors of this Chiefs team very early this season. So those 2 weeks, I think week 3 is Arizona, week 4 Chargers, and so I'm you're getting just nothing but division rivalry, and right even before the bye week. And then on the other side of their bye, 49ers. Like, you're getting the rematch again. It's like everyone's like, oh yeah, the Chiefs don't really have that bad of a schedule this year. I'm like, no, they're playing the NFL talent. Like, the script writers or whoever
Yeah.
you want to blame for this thing, they have built their schedule to say if they're going to get this tree-peat, they're going to earn it. And so, like, they have to get that first round bye. There's just no other way. So it's like 13 dubs.
It's
It's gonna be a rough road.
Yeah,
I
I
just
don't have
can't
one in
believe that we
13
are
games.
back. Yeah. Yep. Same. I got them 13 and 4. I just, you mentioned it, Dave. How are we already in another dynasty? I thought we would have more time. I just thought we would have more time in between Brady. Like, I didn't realize Mahomes was coming. Like, we never saw, just never saw it coming. I mean, this team is just it. I mean, and everything you guys said is correct. Like, everyone always asks, like, who would win versus the immovable object or the unstoppable force, and they have both. It's just like I don't know, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, it's difficult, and there are certain teams that do have that secret sauce, right? Like, the Raiders have shown some tenacity to win against the Chiefs when they need to. Burrow has won against the Chiefs in big games. We have these guys that figure it out, and the whole league has shifted to a whole different defensive scheme to out Mahomes. It was found out that it was a little bit tougher. He had a little bit tougher time against zone versus man, and so you see a lot of defenses shift to making sure that they have a good zone defense, and it's just I don't know, and in the end,
Yeah.
none of it works. Like, it's so. It's frustrating, but it's still not as frustrating as the Patriots. So at the end of the day, you know what? I got Marquise Hollywood Brown on my fantasy team, so I'm very
maybe in the
excited.
The only
15th round.
way I could really like, hopefully nobody else listens to this podcast other than Chiefs fans go, is like they defenses are gonna have to sacrifice a short game. There's just no way around it. It's like, just do some sort of like deep zone mask, maybe keep one guy on a spy, and then just send everyone back. Sacrifice the 5 to 10 yard plays and just force the Chiefs to play in the red zone. There was a lot of teams, especially like the Raiders, had a lot of success with that last year. Weren't allowing the Chiefs to get into the red zone, allow Crosby to do his job, and then like really force pressure in those zones and make Mahomes make terrible passes. So like with
which doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, it's just worked out really well for the Chiefs. I mean, even like years, like when I first came on this podcast, Dave, who was the guy that we were talking about in the Super Bowl? Do you remember in the Chiefs Super Bowl? Who we were saying should have gotten MVP the year before last?
Oh man, I can't recall, to be honest with you.
Isaiah Pacheco.
Oh yeah, Pacheco.
Twinkle Toes himself. The guy
Freaking
that
guy.
runs, he runs like the earth is his enemy. Like, I just don't understand
he's like a heat-seeking missile.
No.
He doesn't avoid contact at all.
He doesn't.
They're like, Pacheco, look, a hole. He's like, no, I'm going to go after the linebacker.
He's incapable of making a cut. The guy is. I don't like him. I hate his running style. It's so terrible.
The 7th round they got him. The 7th round.
I know
it's. You can't believe that they got someone like that. They didn't, but hey.
I mean, that offensive line is really good. I got him going 12-5. I think when you're the 2-time defending, you get everybody's best game. And the only way I see them actually winning is they have to be injury-free. And God forbid anything happens to Mahomes, and they go from a 12-13 win team probably to, like, I don't know, with Carson Wentz, maybe 2 wins. 3?
Oh, come on now.
Dude,
that
Carson Wentz is still there. Terrible.
Andy Reid is still there. The defense is still there. They'll win 1 or 2 games.
Nah, I give them 12. I think they won 12 games. I actually think their division's not good. I only give the Chargers the 500 because of Jim Harbaugh. The Raiders, I think they're below 500. Denver's below 4-5 wins. It's a terrible division. So they're going to win games there, but they're outside
AFC East
games
all over again.
Yeah, I just think it's a terrible division. And they're only rivalry games if the other team wins. So you can't call it a rivalry game if one side's only winning. So the Chargers aren't rivalry games because they can't beat them. I mean, I guess the Raiders are their rivalry now, And then Denver, I don't think they have a rivalry. They haven't had a good quarterback since Peyton Manning, and that was this. But I don't think it's the last dance thing. Andy Reid is extended. Mahomes has got to. He's playing for years. Kelsey's going to play for years. Man, this team has got like a good 5 more years in them of like Super Bowl runs. I hate them already.
Football fans,
Dylan,
look away.
baby.
Just look away. Just embrace it. We just have to embrace it. As much as we don't want to, this is just how it just seems to
Reality.
go. But
I want to say one thing. If you're a Chiefs fan and you don't like this video, you're good. I'm putting the juju out there now. They will not win the division. So if you don't like the video, don't like it. There's no harm in liking it.
Here, I'll give you guys a favor.
Putting it out there.
So when you come to Kansas City to see your favorite team play, you go to Q39, you go to Gates, you go to Plowboys downtown, get yourself some good barbecue, get nice and fed, because at least you'll be fed nice full belly when you watch your team lose. All right.
I'm never coming to
I'm just
Kansas
saying, like,
City.
so we have oh my god, so we have
Sounds
the
like a
Chiefs.
horrible time.
Chiefs
Yeah,
are going.
good at all.
We got the Royals out there slamming balls right now, killing it. Oh boy, Bobby's an absolute monster on the Royals, and then we have the KC Current. We're in the conversation for whatever sport you're interested in. Cricket apparently is big right now. We're gonna start cricket soon. Let's go.
No.
Dodging bullets out there is big too.
I don't know how far the Beard Zone Sports Talk will go into the sport world, but I do know that this episode is coming to an end, fellas. Floice, we definitely appreciate your presence here tonight, man. It's been a lot of fun with you stepping in for Scooter and just kind of hearing your Chiefs take. And of course, with the other teams, man, we definitely appreciate you stepping in. And we got to have you back, especially when the Chiefs lose to the Bengals. So we got to bring you on, see how you're doing, do a check in on you and stuff. So, but if you've made it this far into the video, we definitely appreciate you guys. Go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Let us know down in the comments where you see this division going this year. And check us out on all of our social medias. We're on Instagram, we're on X, we're on Facebook. All the links are down there in the description as well. And be sure to share this with all your family and friends. But we will see you guys next Thursday, and because we are going to be starting our NFC predictions. Yeah, Floice. Yeah, Scooter will be back. So, but Floice, we definitely appreciate you. But next week, we're going to be going into the NFC conference, and we're going to kick it off with the NFC East, the most hated division in the NFL. So be sure to tune in there. But until then, guys, Beard Zone out.